We are back on the island. Gary, because you've been watching your box sets, I can't help but notice there's a lot of Maltesers and crisp packets on the island that weren't here last time we visited, but, you know.
Don't worry, I've got a cleaner.
Okay, so if you didn't hear Gary's list, this is the Custom TV Podcast's Desert Island Dramas. Gary did his 10, and now it's time for Matt to shine.
These are the dramas that shaped us.
Spinoza. Descartes. Hobbes. Locke. Freud. Adler. Young. Mayer. Sullivan. Poirier. Pavlov. End of lecture.
The dramas that defined us.
As part of a new initiative christened Truth and Reconciliation, following a miscarriage of justice, parties are invited to engage in dialogue to initiate the healing process.
There seems to be an oversight. Some of the officers involved in my wrongful conviction are missing.
Superintendent Hastings, as senior investigating officer, represents the whole team.
Well, I want them here. Or this new box you need to tick just won't get ticked.
This is Desert Island Dramas.
You still don't get it, do you? Huh? This ain't about your money, bro. The boy gave you up. That's right. And we ain't had to talk to his ass neither.
From the team at the Custard TV Podcast.
Gary did his in a 10-to-1 structure. Matt decided not to do that,
No.
so he's doing it sort of autobiographical. This is the time, if you've ever sat there after you've listened to one of our ordinary podcasts and go, who is the man behind the Northern Voice? This is the time we find that out.
And indeed up.
Who is the man behind the... So I have to ask you the same question I asked Gary before he started his list. Lots of people watch TV, lots of people love TV. Why are you somebody who watches it and then talks about it like this?
I think, all three of us sort of look at it in a different dimension, in more of a sort of... a lot of people just watch it, entertainment value, nothing more. I think we analyse it more, analyse the acting, analyse when it's on and things like that. And I think from about 10 years ago, I realised that I was someone who did that and sort of started writing about it. I've almost been writing about it now for about 10 years. And obviously... the podcasting came as a result of writing it, once we got in contact and found out we had similar tastes and things like that. You really haven't influenced my... I think this...
No, I really don't feel like I have. Because at first I thought I know what...
because I watch everything, more or less. Basically, some things on this list, it's not informed by everything. I haven't watched a lot of the big dramas. I've never really watched Breaking Bad, Sopranos. There are some big names on this list, but... it's when things grab you, I think, that you want to promote them. Like we were talking last time about the first series of Broadchurch, that it sort of grabbed us all at the same time. I mean, I've loved telly since I was little. I mean, comedy was first for me. I think I had quite a lenient childhood in that I was allowed to stay up till 10:30 to watch some of the more risque comedies.
Terrible sloppy parenting.
Yeah, sloppy
maybe.
parenting. I'm not saying like when I was 8. Say like when I was sort of 11 or 12 and was allowed to watch sort of Harry Enfield, Fast Show, Men Behaving Badly, things like that. Things maybe Father Ted. So you're looking around. What would I have been in like 90? I was 11 or 12 in 95 when sort of stuff like Father Ted and Men Behaving Badly.
But when you watch stuff like Father Ted and Men Behaving Badly, which I also would consider, I'm staying up to watch this. Yeah. When you watch it now, you realise it was not at all.
I mean, Father Ted wasn't risque. Men Behaving Badly was quite risque. I would say probably for an 11-year-old watching that and not understanding everything. I mean, there are some juvenile elements to it, but and I mean, Drop the Dead Donkey, I think I watched when that was probably around the same time, and I probably didn't get all the gags because it was quite topic. And Spitting Image.
You don't get all of my gags though, do you? Really?
Yeah, and Spitting Image, I must have been 10 or 11 when I started watching that. So a lot of those comedies, I think I was watching before. I'd reference them, and maybe like one or two people in the class would get them But
Yeah.
I think I was allowed to stay up and watch things maybe.
You're the only one of us who is also a bit of a film buff. Like, I will research films and watch them based upon what I've heard
I've
others
got
say.
a degree in film studies. I've got
How's that working out at the post
I
office?
did not know that.
Yeah, my degree is in English and film studies. I never completed it, but I did start a master's in film studies as well. So I think it was films first. So while I was doing my degree, I watched a bit of telly, but I think it was post sort of 2004 maybe that I started getting into TV more. And
well, I think that to be fair to you, there was a shift as well in TV at that time. I mean, nobody of our age is going to be sitting at home raving about Inspector Lindley, are they? And Judge John Deed and all the things.
Oh well, you haven't seen the list yet.
I know. Well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
The things with this list were, first of all, I wanted it to sort of reflect where my influences came from in terms of drama, what sort of impacted on me, sort of going through the years.
Yeah.
Another thing is I wanted to make it sort of as diverse as possible, and obviously as well, this is something where we're saying repeat value, so you could watch it over and over again if you're on the.
How many of these have you gone back to again?
I've only got 4 of these on DVD at the moment, so.
Interesting.
So actually, your Desert Island DVDs won't be as many.
I'll tell you why I don't go back and watch as much stuff is because there's always stuff to watch.
There's always something on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably comedies that you go back to watch more because they're shorter, and you just watch one, can't you? I mean, switched on an episode of Frasier the other morning, just because you know it, and because if you watch a drama, then you might go on and watch another episode, and if you've only got a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Some things that did not make the list because of the criteria that I put towards
imposed upon yourself.
Upon myself was that a lot of the British dramas that I've loved in recent years were all sort of crime dramas. So I thought there are 3 crime dramas in this list. So things like Happy Valley, Shadowline, Life on Mars, they all went quite quickly. The Scott and Bailey as well. Things like that I love, but I wanted to make it sort of diverse and quite different.
I would have thought Scott Bailey would be on your list, I have to say.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think it would be on. I mean, no spoilers, but I don't think it would be on my list either. Only because we're talking about things that have real gravitas, and I don't know whether.
Yeah, I mean, I would have put Happy Valley on there first, and Life on Mars. Life on Mars very nearly made it on the list. But basically, I was thinking, A, as I say, I wanted to make it diverse, and B, I don't know how much repeat value you can get out of Life on Mars.
No, I have the DVD and I've watched it once.
Yeah, I enjoyed them when they were on, and I think as well, maybe Ashes to Ashes soured it a little bit as well. I think if Life on Mars had finished, if that was the last time you saw Gene Hunt, I think it would maybe be holding better stead than it is now. There's no 24 on the list, even though I sort of liked individual seasons of it. And season 1, 2, 5 and 7, I would say, are the best ones for me. Another one I wanted to sort of flag up as well, which was when I was making the big list, Veronica Mars was one that I quite liked.
Yeah, that was on mine. Yeah, that was a good one.
The first season of Veronica Mars, perhaps, was the one, and then after that, it sort of petered down a bit.
Was it easy to do the list, or was it hard?
I don't know.
To do
it was
the
hard
list?
to sort of cut down certain ones, and the one that has recently fallen out of my list, and it's purely based on the fact maybe that it hasn't. All of these are finished airing, and the one that was originally on my list that I thought, again, I don't know how much repeat value I get out of it at the moment because it hasn't finished yet, and that's The Americans. And it was very nearly on the list. Everything else, no, not everything else on this is light. That's a lie. But I think The Americans, I really enjoy it, and I think at some point I would go back and watch it, but without knowing how it finishes yet. So those are some of the things that didn't make the list. So I think Luke's already surprised.
I'm chomping at the metaphorical bit at this stage.
The first thing I've put on here is probably one of the earliest dramas that I remember watching. It's something that my mum really liked watching. And I don't think I sort of started watching it properly until about season 7. But then I went back and watched some of the earlier seasons. That's ER is the first one on my list. I'm guessing. I mean, my mum loves all these medical dramas, and it's probably sort of season 6, 7. When Gary will probably remember this. When
so we're talking mid 2000s.
Yeah. No, late 99, early 2000.
Oh yeah, earlier than that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe 2000 actually. I think you may.
Yeah, I think ER started
where Carter got stabbed. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That sort of era was the first sort of thing I remember watching it sort of linearly after that. So if you can think, it sort of went from that until season 15, and it sort of dipped in quality after, say, season 11. I went back and started watching, I think, probably 1 to 3, and they're all brilliant. I mean, the stuff with Hathaway, Juliana Margulies' character, Clooney, obviously, Anthony Edwards, that original group. I remember Love's Labour's Lost, which was the episode where the baby dies. Bradley Whitford's in that as well.
Oh, yes, of course.
And that's just a brilliant hour of drama. Obviously, with like a 24 episode series, you're going to get sort of some duds. I think there are more hits than misses, certainly in that early block of 3 seasons. I mean, there's another one I remember with Ewan McGregor in it as a armed robber. Even the later seasons where the quality dipped to an extent, there were still episodes where you go, yeah, ER is still brilliant.
These are Matt's Desert Island Dramas.
Dear ER gang, so here I am, out on the beach at 5:30 in the evening. Elizabeth is sitting with me drinking juice, but I'm all about the Mai Tais.
What's you reading? Dr. Green sent a letter.
The sun is going down, Rachel is dipping Ella's toes in the ocean as they head off on a quest for the perfect seashell.
Wow, wish you were here, would have done it.
Weirdly enough, I find myself thinking, you know what would make this moment complete? Some jogger dropping to the sand short of breath so I can swoop in with a piece of bamboo to perform a nice, clean intubation.
What's this?
It's Mark.
Fix the guy up and send him off with a good, simple dispo.
The day I start fantasizing about critical procedures is the day I leave, too.
Which I guess is my way of saying that I miss you all. Lots of times I thought I should have chosen a different career or gone into private practice. Something easier, less grinding, more lucrative. But since I've been gone, I realize that outside of what I'm doing right now, sitting on this beach with my family, staying at county all those years, doing what we do on a daily basis, was the best choice I ever made. I know what you're thinking, but trust me, it's not so hard to appreciate once it's over. That you're an incredible group of doctors and nurses who approach every day with such skill, compassion, and thoroughness that when it comes to patient care, I know my absence will hardly be felt. That's just a couple dots, and then Ella is laughing and waving for me. Rachel's found her shell.
Nothing else? What is it?
This is from Dr. Corday. Mark died this morning at 6:04 a.m. The sun was rising, his favorite time of day. I sent this on so that you might know he was thinking of you all, and that he appreciated knowing you would remember him well.
These aren't ordinary dramas. These are desert island dramas. The dramas that shaped us.
There was a sort of linear arc with Forrest Whitaker, I remember, and there was an episode with Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City where she'd had a stroke, and you heard, it was like her thoughts, because she couldn't talk, and you heard her sort of thinking, why can't these people...
she had like locked-in syndrome.
Yeah,
did she,
yeah,
or something?
and that was so well done, and I think it is well written, and obviously these characters come and go, and I think there are some strong characters. Mark Green, obviously, I think is the one we all remember, but also Robert Romano is one of my favourite characters, the Paul McCrane character. It was that sort of first big American drama around the same time as The X-Files, wasn't it, I think, came out. But it was the first sort of really sort of populist American drama that I think had that element that fed into a lot of the later ones. It was before... now we get how many dramas a year, but I think it was sort of before.
It was very, it was one of the only American shows on over here, I think.
And I think Channel 4, and then E4 had it, and then more 4.
Do you think ER still would be something that people would go, this stands up for them as well? Or do you think because you watched it with your mum and you've got memories?
I think it was